the more clients you have, the faster you will learn. The faster you'll also burn out. So keep that in mind to make sure you're doing all the things you need to do to not get burned out or to help when you do get burned out. But if you're able at some point to take a step back and get rid of a couple of clients and have a little more time, what you'll find is that you'll actually have more capacity to help the clients that you are working with, because you'll have more breaks. You'll have more time to find answers to your questions. You'll have more energy to give to these families.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica, and this is All Things Sensory by Harkla.
We are both certified occupational therapy assistants, and together with Harkla, we are on a mission to empower parents, therapists, and educators to help raise confident and strong children of all abilities.
On this podcast, we chat about all things sensory, diving into special needs, occupational therapy, parenting, self-care, overall health and wellness, and so much more.
We are here to provide raw, honest, and fun strategies, ideas, and information for parents, therapists, and educators, as well as other professionals to implement into daily life.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey there, welcome back to another podcast episode. We're so happy to have you here today. I'm Rachel.
I'm Jessica.
And in honor of OT month and Autism Acceptance Month, and I just have to say it, my birthday month as well is thrown in there. Can't forget that. We are going to talk about qualities about a great OT practitioner. This is something near and dear to our heart. We are very passionate OT practitioners ourselves, and we want to make sure that we are passing our passion to all of you listening, and we're motivating you to be the best practitioner that you can be.
Yes. Now, nobody is perfect. We understand that. We're not even perfect.
Perfect. Do you know that song?
No, I actually
Miley Cyrus?
I don't listen to Miley Cyrus. I'm so sorry.
You knew it.
Hannah Montana?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. See, I never watched Hannah Montana.
I
watched
either.
Boy Meets World.
Okay. Okay.
Anyways, okay, so the things we're going to talk about today are things that we strive to do to make sure that we are doing the best that we can, but it's also something that we can recognize in other practitioners and be like, you know what, that is a great OT practitioner because they're doing all these things. Shout out to all the good OTs out there. You know who you are. Probably listening to this, honestly. It's step one, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, we should have put that as number one.
I know.
Good OT practitioner listens to our podcast.
Yeah. Because, before we're going to jump in, that this should be just number one. Okay. Should we just jump into number one because this is number one?
Oh, okay.
Number one is always learning, taking CEUs, listening, growing. Like you are taking any initiative you can to learn and better yourself, whether that is listening to a podcast, joining a club, a Facebook group. Does that count?
Oh, like a group of other OTs?
Yeah, just immersing yourself in the community of OT and trying to learn more and figuring out if you don't know the answer to a question that a client asks you, you are figuring it out. You are diving into the research. You're finding all of the articles. You're finding the courses that are going to help you get better in this area that you don't know a lot about. Mm-hmm. So I think step one is not going above and beyond for your CEUs every year.
Yeah,
not
because
just the bare minimum the night before your license renews.
Yep. There's a couple ways you can do that, right? You can take the continuing education courses throughout the years, but you don't actually apply. You just have them on in the background. You barely pass the post test and you don't really learn anything, right?
Yeah.
You don't use what you could have learned.
Yeah.
Or the other side of it is you are very passionate and you really pay attention to the courses. You're writing down things that you have learned in the course so that you can take it to your clients and implement what you're learning from these courses. You're asking questions if you're on live courses. I think it's huge.
I can't tell you how many horror stories I have from owning a continuing education business of OTs who are not being truthful, not taking the courses.
I mean, we see it in our courses sometimes.
Yes, I know.
Hate to throw everyone under the bus, but
it's so sad that as a profession of helping others, we see so much
But we also see so many good therapists.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, so many.
Yes.
I work with a handful of really amazing therapists, OTs, but also a really amazing speech therapist. And they fall under all of these things that we wrote down here.
Yeah.
Number 2 is that you collaborate with other professionals, whether this is collaborating with fellow OTs and asking them questions because they have more knowledge in one area and you want to learn from them, or if this is collaborating with other professions like speech, PT, functional medicine, chiropractic care. But really your goal is, as an OT practitioner, we can do a lot of things, right? But we can't do everything. So making sure that you are collaborating with other professionals, you are referring out if your clients need to be referred to another specialty.
So what I was thinking about while you were talking was, the collaboration between OT and speech, for example. And when we were you were talking about GLPs, Gestalt Language Processors, and you said, I have a great speech therapist that I work with. She knows a ton about this, so I ask her all the questions. We work together. She gives me tips on working with my GLPs. And so that's like a great example of like, I am still learning about this, so I need to collaborate with someone who is an expert in this so they can teach me how to best support my clients. So it's not just about like, oh, we're going to co-treat together. It's like reaching out and asking questions and finding the answers from other professionals.
So important.
We don't know all the answers, unfortunately. Number 3, a great OT practitioner knows how to build rapport with a variety of clients and their families. I feel like we're a broken record when it comes to this, but for good reason. If you are not building rapport, if you're not getting to know what your client likes and what they don't like, and, asking them questions and connecting with the family on, a personal level, of course, business professional, but if you're not connecting with them, then how is the client going to trust you? How is the family going to trust you? How are they going to send their child with you for an hour every week if they don't have that trust and that rapport built? If the client is like, this is dumb, I don't want to go hang out with Miss Rachel, like she's weird, she's not going to, they probably say that anyways, but regardless, they're not going to make progress if they don't feel comfortable and if they're not excited and happy and enjoying their time.
Yeah. And I think, we specialize in the clinic setting because that's where we've been. But you think about like the school setting, you might not be interacting with the students' parents and caregivers, but you are interacting with the teachers, and you need to have good rapport with the teachers to help them carry over the things that they can do in the classroom with the students because they're with them all day. So being able to build that rapport with students, clients, but also the adults, the caregivers, the teachers, the paras, whoever it is that's with this child, the majority of the time, like Rachel said, you need to build trust with them. And a good OT practitioner is able to do that with all of their clients and all of their families. And no matter what that family's background is, what their, what's the word I'm looking for? What their lifestyle, their beliefs. There's a word for it that I'm blanking on. I'll think about it while I'm sleeping tonight. You know what I mean? A good OT practitioner can do that.
Okay, number 4, a good OT practitioner is willing to share what they know and to share their knowledge. And I think, from a personal experience, we started this podcast back in 2018. We were 4 years into our career, and podcasts were like barely getting started back then. We didn't know everything.
I didn't even know what podcasts were.
No, you didn't.
I still remember being like, Rachel, what's a podcast?
Yeah. And I was like, we're doing it. Come on. But anyways, we were so fresh. We didn't know everything, but we had some really great ideas and we had some really great information that we wanted to share. And we just wanted to share that passion and to share that information, however that was. So I think, you don't have to have a podcast. You don't have to have a blog. You don't have to have an Instagram to be a good therapist. You probably shouldn't, honestly, but really you should be able to teach other therapists. You should be able to have students, and you shouldn't just use students as an opportunity to take over your caseload and so you can catch up on paperwork. It should be, I am going to mentor this student. I'm going to teach them everything I know in order to make them a good darn therapist and send them on their way so that way they can, continue this amazing career that we have and support as many clients as they can. So being willing to teach, whatever that looks like, in a way that's comfortable for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 5, this is so interesting. Willing to make less money without overloading your schedule with too many clients each day. Granted, as a new grad, you probably are going to do this because you're getting started. And honestly, the more clients you have, the faster you will learn. The faster you'll also burn out. So keep that in mind to make sure you're doing all the things you need to do to not get burned out or to help when you do get burned out. But if you're able at some point to take a step back and get rid of a couple of clients and have a little more time, what you'll find is that you'll actually have more capacity to help the clients that you are working with, because you'll have more breaks. You'll have more time to find answers to your questions. You'll have more energy to give to these families.
I hate seeing all of the memes on social media that's like, the guy running as fast as he can, like me going to the bathroom between clients, as an OT practitioner. And I'm like, it's so true. Like when your schedule is, you're seeing 10 clients a day with no breaks in between, like you have to literally run to the bathroom between clients. You barely have time to do that. You have barely enough time to eat, breathe, like go see the sunlight during the day. Like, I just feel like if you are in it for the paycheck, which obviously is great and you need to be in certain situations, but if you're in it for the paycheck and you're just like, check, did this client, check, did this client, check, did this client, and you're not like, okay, I really helped Johnny today because he learned how to tie his shoes. We got to the bathroom, we practiced wiping, like we really mastered these skills. If it's more like, check, 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 okay, I'm going home, don't even think about my clients. Like, obviously it's hard to separate work and, to not take your work home, but like good therapists have a hard time really shutting that off. And I think that's why we're good at what we do, is because we care so much about our clients, but also we know how important it is to find that balance. And when we were able to finally advocate for ourselves and have a voice and stand up and say, I cannot see 5 clients in a row without a break.
That was my breaking point for sure.
Same. Like it's too much. Yeah. Like I cannot do my best work when I do not have a chance to sit down or go for a walk or eat or pee.
And everyone's capacity is different. So you might be a therapist where you can see 5 clients in a row without a break, and you do great with that. Or you might be more like us where you're like, 3 clients in a row, and then I need like a 30-minute break, So finding out what fits best for you so that you have the energy to really help your clients.
Yeah.
That's the big piece.
So moral of the story, we appreciate all of you being here, and you probably are all great therapists, but it doesn't hurt to have a refresher, and it doesn't hurt to share this episode with someone else who,
please do share it,
maybe needs a refresher. Or, I have heard of schools having their students listen to our podcast as well.
Great.
Which, it's a great podcast to listen to,
We think so.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's answer a listener question. This is a short and sweet question, but I feel like it'll have a long answer because that's just who we are. How to integrate reflexes in the school setting because of no carryover.
Okay. So let me just unpack this. Okay. So with reflex integration, we want to make sure that there is consistent carryover, right? That's the goal, is that we are making new neural connections. We want these exercises and movements to be completed every day if possible. So when we are in the school setting and we are not having families consistently carry over because you don't have the opportunity to connect with the caregiver, we want to focus on what we have control over and what we can do in the school setting ourselves. So I think really working on doing your best with the time that you have with your clients. I would focus on sending home visuals if possible, sending home information, popping it in the backpack and sending home the information, sending home your contact information for the family to reach out if they're interested. Do your due diligence with getting that information there if possible. So that would be my first start.
Yep. If you are in the school setting, you want to have a good rapport with the teachers. And that is going to be super helpful because then you can work with the teachers on implementing certain movements and exercises into the daily routine for the entire classroom, because chances are you have a couple of kids in each class that you pull out or maybe you push in, but chances are most of those kids in that classroom have at least one retained primitive reflex. So they're all going to benefit from these exercises. And if you can teach the teacher why it's important and how they can easily and quickly implement it into the already established daily routine, then the teachers can start implementing it and helping all of the students with reflexes. This could look like maybe you hold an in-service, a teacher in-service on like a learning day, and you can teach the entire school about primitive reflexes and give them 3 simple ways they can implement into the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be great.
That would be absolutely great. Yes. So really just focus on controlling what you can control and advocating and teaching the teachers and sending home information if you can get it into the child's backpack.
Also keeping in mind that while we do recommend reflexes to be addressed daily, consistently, even if it's once a week, that's still very, very beneficial.
It's better than nothing.
It's so much better than nothing. So make sure that even if it is discouraging, you can still implement these reflex integration exercises on a weekly basis for your students, and it's still going to have an impact.
Yes, I love that. Great, short, but sweet question with a very long answer. You were right.
Hopefully not too long.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Leave us a review, share this episode, continue to advocate for OT month, Autism Acceptance Month, my birthday month, if you feel inclined. We just appreciate you all so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we will talk to you next week.
Okay, bye. Thank you so much for listening to All Things Sensory by Harkla.
If you want more information on anything mentioned in the show, head over to harkla.co/podcast to get the show notes.
If you have any follow-up questions, the best place to ask those is in the comments on the show notes or message us on our Instagram account, which is at Harkla_family or at All Things Sensory Podcast. If you just search Harkla, you'll find us there.
Like we mentioned before, our podcast listeners get 10% off their first order at Harkla. Whether it's for one of our digital courses or one of our sensory swings, the discount code SENSORY will get you 10% off. That's SENSORY.
Head to harkla.co/sensory to use that discount code right now.
We are so excited to work together to help create confident kids all over the world. While we make every effort to share correct information, we're still learning.
We will double check all of our facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art.
One doctor or therapist may have a different way of doing things from another.
We are simply presenting our views and opinions on how to address common sensory challenges, health-related difficulties, and what we have found to be beneficial that will be as evidence-based as possible.
By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or your child.
Consult your child's pediatrician or therapist for any medical issues that he or she may be having.
This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast.
Thanks so much for listening.